It's pretty quiet when it comes to the news front today, but I just wanted to talk about this very interesting thing that is happening right now, where apparently the Shazam movie that came out a few years ago, there is a Mandela effect that is happening with this movie. Now, I didn't even realize that this was a thing until I saw this article, but then it started to get me thinking about the whole thing having to do with like the Mandela effect, something that I'm actually very fascinated by. I am very fascinated by this whole Mandela effect ever since I found out that the Berenstain Bears weren't called the Berenstain Bears, they're called the Berenstain Bears or whatever else, and I was just like, what? Like, it blew my mind, and then I started to look into the Mandela effect more, and now I've always been fascinated by it ever since. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the Shazam story here and what is going on with apparently this movie, and I want to know from you guys, you people who have seen this movie, this Shazam movie, what you think about this as well. Is this something that you remember from the movie, or is this something that has gypped you into the Mandela effect as well? So, a new example of the Mandela effect appears to have popped up with the DC film Shazam, as some fans claim to have seen a different end credits scene. Just take a look at this image here. Does this look familiar to you? Do you remember this from the end of the movie? Shazam director David F. Sandberg points out a strange Mandela effect occurrence that appears to have popped up regarding the DC movie. Sandberg's Shazam was released in 2019 and introduced young hero Billy Batson to the DCEU. Now, Shazam as a movie, it was okay. It was just okay. Like, to me, it wasn't like amazing or anything. It didn't like blow my mind. It wasn't like the greatest thing I ever seen or anything even close. It seemed like a very I don't know, very Marvel-y, Disney-fied type of superhero story. And because of that, I wasn't really the biggest fan of it. I'm kind of sick of the whole Disney-esque type of storytelling and stuff. But, you know, it was just an okay movie. It was okay. So a foster kid with we all know about the Shazam movie. I don't need to explain to you guys the plot of the movie. Like a good number of superhero blockbusters these days, Shazam included two scenes tacked onto the credits. The first set up a future villain for Billy and Mr. Mind, who reached out to Dr. Savannah in his jail cell. The second featured Billy and his foster brother Freddy as they continued to speculate about the former's superhero abilities. At least, these are the Shazam scenes that have been widely discussed. There are some, however, who argue they saw something else. And this is super weird, right? Because people are talking about this throne room scene here. So, a conversation started up on social media Wednesday with Sandberg and Shazam fans. It began with when someone questioned why a scene with Billy and his siblings, all in their grown superpowered forms, taking their seat among the champions' thrones, was removed from the film. When some began to claim the moment was actually Shazam's end credit scenes, Sandberg chimed in to say it must be an example of the Mandela effect. People keep arguing they saw Shazam with the throne scene in it, but we cut it early on, Sandberg wrote. Never finished VFX, DI, and the music is taken from another scene. It's only ever had a deleted scene released as an extra. I don't think we even had it in test screenings. So, this is apparently an image from the scene that people are saying they remember from the movie. So I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about this and if you remember the scene from the movie or not. Now, for me, he actually has a poll right here, which I'm actually kind of interested to see what people say about this. But for me, I actually don't remember this at all. I don't remember this scene being in here. I do remember everyone being in their costumes and stuff, but I don't remember them being in this throne room scene. So for me, I can't say that I remember this and that I have suffered from the Mandela effect or anything else. So I'm going to say, did you see Shazam with the throne scene in it? I'm going to say no. So, but look at that. Like 50%, almost 50% of people are saying yes. That is absolutely crazy stuff. As some have pointed out in the comments, there's a chance the scene was included in Shazam screenings for different locations. It certainly seems odd that some people would remember it so clearly if it never happened, but it's weird because like there's like half the people who are saying that they saw it. That's just so weird to me, and I'm just so fascinated by this whole Mandela effect thing. And like I said, I've been fascinated by this for quite some time now, and apparently it is something that is happening in Shazam as well. So I do want to hear what you guys have to say about this in the comments. if you guys remember this or not. But just looking at some of the other like Mandela effect situations here, you know, there's obviously Nelson Mandela's death, which was kind of the thing that you know, gave it its name and stuff, which is interesting because this is taking place after 2012, and there's a lot of theories that like 2012 was actually like the end of the world in a way, but now we're in some alternate universe type of situation and stuff. And of course, Nelson Mandela's death, you know, some people remembered him dying in prison in the 1980s, and then apparently he died actually in like 2013 and stuff, which happens to be the year after 2012. So this whole thing was like really fascinating as well. And then they just kind of go through a bunch of things that are obviously like things that people claim to be part of the Mandela effect. So Looney Tunes, apparently this is the way that it was all spelled, but people think that this is the way that it was spelled. And I thought I remembered this as well, you know. There's obviously, this was the one that kind of got me shook in the first place and got me, you know, interested in the whole Berenstein Bears situation, which led me into the Mandela effect situation. So there's like Febreze here, which is interesting because I could have sworn that it was this Febreze. And I wonder how much of this is actually just like your brain, like filling in things that logically make more sense to you. Like, I think, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily buy into the whole idea that we're in some like alternate universe type of situation or anything. I think that it's more likely the case that our brains have probably like logically made us think that this is the way that it should be, and so that is what we construct in our minds when actually it isn't. That's probably more so likely the case of what is happening. So there's like Fruit Loops, which is apparently the way that it was always spelled, but you know, there's obviously this, which people think is what it was. Now this is one of the ones that got me, right? Like, you know, the Monopoly man and stuff, or whoever, he, you know, I always thought that he had a monocle. Apparently he doesn't. Let's see. This was another one. Okay, this one. Okay, let me tell you. My mom used to buy me Fruit of the Loom as like a religious brand back when I was a kid. I could have sworn that it had the cornucopia behind it. I could have sworn on my life that it was there. But apparently it isn't. It's so weird, man. It is just so weird. I don't know what this is. So there's the Flintstones. So they just kind of go through a bunch of these and stuff. Run, you fools, hate to burst your bubble again, but this memorable line was never said by Gandalf. Before his treacherous fall, you can clearly hear him say, "Fly, you fools." Well, yeah, that's an obvious one. Like, that's not even like Mandela effect type stuff. That's just like, duh, just watch the movie. It's right there, duh. So anyway, I just found this to be very fascinating, very interesting. We might actually talk about this on our podcast soon, the whole idea of the Mandela effect, and see what the other guys have to say. So if you guys aren't aware, I do have a podcast. It is called Epic Man Podcast, and we have a show every week. We talk about all sorts of crazy stuff, so make sure that you go check us out. We're on all of the different podcast platforms and stuff, and we also have a YouTube channel as well, so you guys can subscribe there if you want to, Epic Man Podcast. But yeah, I just love this whole idea, and I do want to hear what you guys have to say about this whole thing in the comments below. It's just really fascinating. So hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new here to my channel. I'd appreciate that a lot, and I will talk to you later. Bye.